Back in 2020, when I was 30 years old, I did something terrible to my family. I was struggling with a serious drug dependency, and to feed it, I stole from the people closest to me. I took several electronic items, old cell phones, a game console, and a Blu ray player, and sold them to get money for substances. I won't justify what I did. Those actions were my responsibility, and I fully accept the damage they caused. Eventually, I was caught. That's when my family learned the full truth about what I had been dealing with. Seeing my parents come to that realization was painful, but nothing compared to seeing my younger sister's reaction. She was only 17, and the heartbreak on her face is something I still carry with me. My parents drove me to a rehabilitation center, where I spent 3 months getting clean and trying to rebuild myself. During that time, I didn't hear from them at all. I tried calling just to let them know I was alive and taking this seriously, but no one ever answered. The day I was released, I went back home, hoping there might still be a chance to talk. Instead, my family told me I was no longer considered part of the family. I was ordered to leave immediately and warned not to contact any of them again under any circumstances. Desperate, I reached out to other relatives for help. That's when I found out my parents had already spoken to them. My grandparents and several others were told that if they stayed in contact with me in any way, they would be cut off as well. No one was willing to risk that. The only way I could see how my sister was doing was through my mother's social media posts. One day, without thinking, I reacted to one of them. Shortly after, I received a message telling me I was allowed to look, but not interact. Soon after that, every family member blocked me completely. I was emotionally destroyed. For a period of time, I didn't have a place to live and relied on shelters. Eventually, I found a basic job, just enough to afford a small, run-down apartment. Slowly, I began putting my life back together. I went to therapy to deal with the overwhelming grief and guilt. I focused on work and finished my college degree online, picking up where I had dropped out at 21. Over time, things finally started to change. I was able to secure a solid job several states away, and as soon as I could, I moved there, hoping to finally start over. About 3 years ago, I met the woman who would eventually become my wife. Her family had been through similar struggles with substance dependency, and they welcomed me with a warmth and understanding I hadn't experienced in a very long time. It felt like a second chance, a place where I could truly belong. Last year, we got married, and just 3 months ago, we welcomed our son into the world. Being a new father was overwhelming in the best way. I couldn't help but share my excitement online, posting photos and little updates about him, wanting to show the world the little person who had completely changed my life.
Almost immediately, the messages started coming in. My parents, the ones who had abandoned me at my lowest, suddenly wanted to meet my son. I have no plans to allow that. Every day, I think about the way they treated me when I needed the most, their disownment, their complete refusal to acknowledge me during my hardest times. I know I'm not owed forgiveness for my past mistakes. I made them, I accept that. But the way they chose to cut me off, to actively prevent me from having any support, was nothing short of cruel. I told them very firmly that I do not consider them my family anymore. They are not welcome anywhere near me, my wife, our son, or anyone connected to us. Since then, the messages have kept coming. Daily, I see comments accusing me of never earning their love back, or claiming that I am somehow cheating them out of having a son again. It's exhausting to read, but I refuse to let it sway me. I know what I went through, what I overcame, and what I am protecting now. My son, my family, the life I'm building, none of it is theirs to claim, and I am not giving in. I never will. Edit. I've received a huge number of replies with opinions and advice across the entire spectrum. I may not have responded to every single one, but I have read them all carefully. For now, I've decided to take a step back and process everything. My wife and I have agreed that we will have a video call with my parents. We plan to discuss the past 5 years, to understand where everyone stands now, and to see if there's any way to move forward. I'll be taking all of the perspectives and advice I've read here into consideration as we approach this conversation. I know a lot of people are waiting for updates. I promise I will share what happens once the dust has settled and I have a clearer idea of the outcome. Thank you to everyone who took the time to share their thoughts, whether kind, critical, or somewhere in between. Every single word has been appreciated. Update. A little while ago, I posted here asking if I was in the wrong for telling my family that they would never be part of my life or my son's life. I want to thank everyone who replied, whether your words were kind, critical, or somewhere in between. Looking back, I realized that I didn't express some things clearly, which led to a lot of different interpretations. I thought about addressing every single misunderstanding, but honestly, I'm ready to leave this behind, so I won't. There's one point I do want to clarify since it came up several times. My father did not pay for my stay in rehab. At the time, I was earning less than $20,000 a year, and my job only offered a basic health savings account. I qualified for Medicaid, and that's what covered the cost of my inpatient treatment. It wasn't easy, but it allowed me to get clean and start rebuilding my life. To give a little more context and to explain part of my father's mindset, I want to share a bit of his history. He came to the United States from China to attend college. He fell in love with the country and the opportunities it offered. He was always deeply opposed to communism and harbored a strong resentment toward the system in his home country. For him, America represented freedom and the chance to succeed in ways he couldn't have back home. He married an American woman, stayed here, and started his own business, building a life from scratch. During our recent conversation, my father shared some of these perspectives, and I think they help explain how he views certain things, though it doesn't justify the way he has treated me. My father had a dream. One day, he hoped to pass his business down to his son and then to his grandson, creating a legacy that would last for generations. He was very much a strict, controlling parent, and my mother, having always been more submissive, followed his lead. From a young age, I was told that this future was set in stone. My entire life was planned around it, from the university I would attend to the major I would study. Every decision was carefully curated, all to fit into the vision he had for me.
Understanding this helps explain where he was coming from. The video call was just the three of us, my father, my wife, and me. It was long, tense, and awkward, but here's the essence of what was said. My father sees my bisexuality and my decision to leave college early as direct signs of ingratitude for the way he raised me. In his mind, I wasn't showing the proper respect or appreciation for all he had done. He admitted that my sexuality still left open the possibility of marrying a woman and having children, so he didn't interfere there. Even though I dropped out, he could have taught me to manage the business and hire help for the parts I couldn't handle myself. Dropping out, while disappointing to him, was not the real breaking point. The issue for him was that I had used drugs at all. The theft upset him, of course, but to him that was secondary. What mattered most was that I had abused substances. Because of that, he believed I could never be trusted with the family legacy. Since I couldn't contribute to what he had envisioned, he felt it was necessary to cut me out entirely to protect the family from what he saw as shame. He made it very clear that this is still how he feels. Nothing I do, staying clean, building a stable life, even achieving success, will change his view. In his mind, I destroyed his dream, and that cannot be undone. Despite everything he had said, my father still believed I somehow owed him a debt. In his mind, by being cut out of the family, I had left a vacant role, a son who was meant to inherit and continue his legacy. Now that I have a son of my own, he sees an opportunity for that legacy to live on through my child. Because of my past, he believes it would be necessary for him and my mother to step in and ensure my son is raised properly and guided into the role that was originally meant for me. I never even got the chance to speak directly with my mother during the call, or to ask her about the messages she had sent me. Before that could happen, the conversation ended abruptly. My wife realized before I did that this discussion wasn't going anywhere productive, and she stepped in to end it. That weekend was rough. I was in a very dark place after that Friday night, emotionally drained and shaken. I honestly don't know how I would have gotten through it without my wife. I can't fully put into words how much I'm grateful for her presence in my life. I know one thing for certain. I intend to spend the rest of my life being as steady and supportive for her as she has been for me. Right now, that mostly looks like action rather than words. I've taken on as much of the housework as possible and make sure I'm fully involved in caring for our baby while her body recovers. As our son grows, I know those gestures will change, but I'll keep finding new ways to show her how much she means to me. As for the future, this is what we've decided. I'm going to work significantly less. For those who are curious, I ended up becoming a technical writer, something I'm genuinely good at. It pays well enough that we can live comfortably even if I reduce my hours far below a full-time schedule. When I first met my wife, I used work as a distraction. There's a quote by Marco Pierre White that says work is the best painkiller mankind has ever invented, and for a long time, that was true for me. But now, with a child, I don't believe that's a healthy way to cope anymore. Instead of burying myself in work, I've decided to use that extra time to invest in my mental health. I'll be attending an additional therapy session every week, focusing on more intensive treatment and developing healthier coping mechanisms, ones that don't involve running myself into the ground. As for our son, we've made a clear decision. My parents will not be part of his life, at least for the foreseeable future. We're still figuring out exactly what we'll tell him, but as he grows and develops his own personality, we plan to work with a counselor who specializes in child psychology. Our goal is to approach the subject in a way that is honest but doesn't cause confusion or distress. Many people suggested that I take my wife's last name. We considered it briefly, but ultimately we've decided to choose an entirely new family name. It feels like the right way to mark a fresh start in the beginning of a new legacy, one that we are creating together. We haven't settled on the name yet, but we hope to finalize it by the end of the year. And honestly, that's about it. There isn't much else to report. I know this update will generate a wide range of opinions, and that's fine. I won't be reading or responding to comments. This is simply where I choose to leave the story. I know the man I've become. I know I am a capable father and a loving husband. I know I carry the weight of past mistakes, and that some people may never fully trust or respect me because of them. But I also know that despite those mistakes, I will continue to be the best man I can be for my family. I don't need strangers on Reddit to praise or condemn me to know that this is true.